Hello and welcome into the River Valley Now studios here once again with longtime friend of the program, State Senator Breanne Davis. Hey, long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while. Thanks for having me back on.
She's one of the ones that got us going and got us a bunch of viewers that when we first started this Pulse broadcast, so we appreciate you for that. We're here today to talk about something that we've had a lot of different perspective on. We've had the judge and the sheriff in here to both talk about the bonding issue. We've had Sass and the Beard talked about it. We've had people on every side of this debate and discussion. We really only feel it's fair to do that way. But we thought, who better than a state senator to tell us a little bit more about your perspective on this bond issue?
Yeah, it's hard because it's such a complicated issue, and so when you sort of dig down and get in the complexities of it, sometimes you lose people's interest. But I'm really worried about the bonding initiatives. I don't think that it's a good thing for our county to move forward on right now. There's just so many unknowns that we're still dealing with, and to go ahead and earmark projects that will be paying off for the next 3 or 4 decades, I think is really a slippery slope that we're going down. And so I'd just love to have this conversation with you and talk a little bit more about the bonding issues.
Well, for those that say they haven't watched all the other ones, which I hope they will and they have, just to get a little bit of a baseline of what we're talking about, would you, from your perspective, tell us why, what is expected to happen, and then what your opinion is on why it's a bad idea?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, what we know is there'll be 5 separate bonding initiatives on the ballot. And those initiatives, as I understand it, what we'll be voting on is just to give permission for the county to move forward with those projects at some point. So it won't be actually voting to bond them up, right now or in a month from now, but it'll be in the future. And so what I think we've all probably heard the judge talk about is he's waiting to see a year's worth of casino revenue. So when the casino has been up and running for a year, then they'll be able to have some projections based on that and start these projects. So, for me, I think that, we may all probably agree that the first year of the casino opening, whenever that may be, will be some of the largest revenues. It'll be new. People will be coming in from all over, to come visit. And so I think that it's really dangerous to bond out projects based on a single year's revenue. What happens in year 10 or year 15 when the revenue is not what we anticipated it being? We're already in debt at that point, and we have to make those bond payments. So at that point, one big talking point I've heard a lot is that it's free. It doesn't cost the taxpayers of Pope County a dime. But I'd really like to challenge that train of thought, because at the point that the revenue does not come in from the casino as they anticipate, then we will be paying that. I mean, you have to make your bond payments. And so in 30 years from now, what if we're not bringing in the same amount of revenue from the casino as we were in the first year? And that's a real possibility. And so to me, it's not just about, being against any of these projects, because I think most people would agree they're all good. I mean, a criminal justice complex, and really for me, more specifically, a jail. I think that a jail is a need. I've been in our jail. There's mold on the walls. I mean, they have done so much to keep it running like it is, but the truth is we do need a new jail. But do we need a new criminal justice complex for $58 million? Those aren't the same. I think people would love to see a new library and, have a little activity center, fitness center for our seniors, and an arena on the Pope County Fairgrounds. All those are good, worthy projects. But the question is, should we be putting ourselves in debt for the next 3 to 4 decades and tying up our kids in that debt? That's a different question. And so not only would I say that I don't think the not only would I say that the bonding initiatives are not a good idea, I would say that they're dangerously irresponsible of us to move forward and vote those out.
So proponents for the bond initiative say that there's a sense of urgency because of what has to be done by the end of this year. What's your answer to that discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we see with county jails across the state is, most are in the same sort of position, right? They're out of compliance. We have seen overcrowding in our jails. Our county jails are holding state prisoners. They're holding federal prisoners in some cases. And so, that's why I said earlier that a jail is a real need. And I've seen our jail, I've seen our overcrowding issues, I've seen it across the district. I was in Van Buren County earlier this week, and they were talking about the same thing, trying to have a plan to be in compliance, so they're not shut down and turned into maybe like a 24-hour hold facility. So then we're having to outsource our inmates to different counties and then pay for that, or just releasing our inmates and putting them back on the streets. And so I would just say to that, there's a few different things. I mean, one, this is just giving permission to bond up these different projects. And we know that these projects are still a few years out because we know that the casino issue is tied up in litigation, and then it's going to take a while to build. And so you're still talking about a stream of revenue that is years away. Mm-hmm. And secondly, I would say, what happened to the economic development agreement that the county has with Cherokee Nation Business? If they end up being the vendors that get the casino license, then we have an economic development agreement that has funding in it for a jail. So to me, that's already been addressed. And, at the time that a casino license is awarded, and considering it's them, then we have all the funding up front. There's no need to go into debt and pay interest on it over a multitude of years. So to me, the urgency argument doesn't really hold ground because we've got different options we can look at, and we're really not in a race against time right now.
So how do you feel that the bonding issue relates to the casino issue itself?
Yeah, I'm so glad that you asked that. I think, what we see right now with the narrative that's sort of taken shape in our county is that if you're pro-casino, then you must be pro-bond because you must be for growth and economic development. And if you're not for the bonds, then you're anti-casino, anti-growth, anti-development. And, to me, the casino issue really doesn't have anything to do with the bonding issue. The thing that connects it, of course, is the source of revenue. But I think very easily you could be pro-casino and anti-bonds, or anti-casino, pro-bonds. To me, the bigger question when looking at growth and economic development for Pope County across the next few decades is if we tie up all of the additional revenue that we could get from the casino, and it's tied up in bond payments, then what happens in 10 or 15 years from now when we have a true economic development need, but we don't have any additional revenue or way to pay for that? And so, my concern is really not knowing what the future holds in terms of growth in our county. And we need to have a way to sort of plan for that and have money available to invest in maybe some economic development projects along the way. But it will literally be impossible to do if all of the revenue from the casino is tied up paying off debt for the next 4 decades. And that's why I said earlier, it's dangerously irresponsible to vote for these bonding initiatives because there are so many unknowns. We're doing it at an urgent, fast pace, and there's no need for that. We need to take some time, see how things settle out in terms of what happens with the casino, and then move forward in a plan from that. And really, I would really like people to understand that the casino issue is totally separate from the bonding issue. We really need to be more thoughtful in how we move forward and the way that we address economic development in Pope County.
Well, Senator Davis, thank you for your time. We appreciate you being here with us today. We hope you've all learned something here about the bonding issue, another perspective. We're trying our best to give you as many as we possibly can. So thank you guys for watching today. You all have a great evening.